All right, guys, let's welcome Joe Cotela from Dead onto the program. How you doing, man?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
Doing
And
good. Where are you at in the world?
I'm up in New York.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are we still working on the record? Where are we at with this, man? You've been leaving a nice steady stream of music this year, so
Yeah, we have. No, yeah, the album's done. And it was supposed to. Uh, well, you never. We didn't really have an exact plan for when it was going to be released, but it's done, and it was supposed to be released. I imagine by now. But
right.
the first single American Idol came out around like March, so like middle of March, right when everything happened. So we had to like really refigure everything. We're still trying to figure it out now, so we're just kind of releasing stuff as it goes for the time being.
Yeah, 2020 would have been a big year for you. I mean, you got the big monster tour with Black Veil Brides in this moment, about to happen, and it was, everything was on track to be a big year for you guys, and kind of just sidetracked with the, with all the shutdown.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess I would look at it like that too. It would have, it's exciting because the first album cycle went better than we could have imagined. When we are doing it, and it was such an awesome time. And then we stayed busy touring and recording the album to keep that momentum going because it had been almost 3 years. It's been 3 years since the first album in July. So we really tried to keep that momentum and like touring and then go do the album and then go back on tour. We were just flying back and forth from both for like the whole last year. And then, and then all that work to keep that momentum going. And then, and then just, and, so it was frustrating, just like it is for everybody else, I mean,
right. What's the the plan right now? Are we just going to kind of continue releasing singles here and there? When is the album coming out? What are we looking at?
Yeah. So I don't have like a definitive thing for the album coming out, but yeah, we're releasing music. We just released a new song called Parasite like last week, I think it was. You never know when it what day it is anymore. But and then we got some more stuff coming out. We just shot a music video for a new song, so more music. So we're just gonna kind of keep putting it out, I think, and I believe this will be the last song that we're gonna put out as like a single, and then the album should come out after that. So, but I don't have dates, and I can't say yet. And it's like me trying to do it. We're not like an independent band. We have a label, management, all that stuff, and so like there's a lot of people that have a lot invested and all that kind of stuff. So you got to work with everybody, and that kind of thing. So just trying to do our best, working with everybody, and get have the team all on the same page, that kind of thing.
Kind of looking into this album, obviously done with Kevin Churko. What did you take away working with him as opposed to obviously the debut was John Feldman, obviously two monster producers, but for the career so far, what was it like? I hate asking what was it like questions, but what was it like working with Kevin as maybe opposed to John?
Yeah, so I would say two totally different, aside from both being, great guys, like awesome human beings and such talented guys that have put out music that I have listened to and enjoyed for years. I would say just different vibes as far as people go. Like John is a bit more intense and in the moment and drinks coffee like every hour. You know what I mean? Very intense, a little bit more on the pop, punk, rock type side of things, but has roots in like hardcore and new metal and things like that. And then, and then Kevin is a little more laid back, like Canadian guy, a little more chill, but like super genius with like music theory and like, listens to like what is it, like bossa nova music and stuff, and like so like a little bit more like mad scientisty, and like a little bit more laid back. But like I said, both like masters of what they do, you know what I mean, and both like watching them work and listening to them. And like I always think like, because I've worked with a handful of different people with doing albums and things, and I always just try to like, you pick up little pieces, I call them little weapons, and I add them to my arsenal, stuff that they might teach me with different things. And, John, I think likes to capture the moment a little bit more and like seize the day and like get something done. And I think with Kevin, we're a little bit more thought out and a little bit more like, it could be spanned out over like a week or two, and I mean, that kind of thing. So there's just different things. I think there's strengths in both things, so yeah.
I was listening to a podcast recently, the band Story of the Year. are now releasing podcasts of the four of them talking about their kind of their history. And they did a big episode about working on the first album with John Feldman. And basically he would make them go back to the drawing board a lot and be like, if, I need a better chorus, I need a better chorus, I need a better chorus. Was that the kind of the takeaway from him?
Yeah, I mean, in ways,
push you to be better, I guess is where we're at.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100% push to be better. I mean, I do the same thing. That's the thing is if somebody challenges me to beat my chorus, then I'm like, oh, okay. Chorus. You know what I mean? And I feel like I usually know when I have something good or not, like if it's like, okay, I'll know. When someone says, it's all right, I'll be like, I know it's all right. When I feel like I have something good, usually it's pretty like unanimous in the room, you know what I mean? That kind of thing, at least for like, us that are working on the music. So, but I feel like I did that almost a bit with some of that stuff too. Like, it's important to me and I can be a little bit more like, over, analytical about parts and be like, yo, is that the best thing that I can put there? You know what I mean? Because you're working on music and it's going to come out and you're going to tour on it for like 2 years or whatever. You don't want it to be, you don't want anything to be like phoned in or, any of that kind of stuff. So, but I think both of them definitely pushed me and the guys for sure.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get out there. It's like, does this suck? I think this sucks.
Yeah. Like my worst nightmare is to be stuck playing music I don't enjoy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll just throw it out and like let's just play covers for the whole set. If I had to. But that wouldn't happen. But.
It's funny. I was looking at the timeline of the band, and it seems like you guys have been around a little bit longer than the debut album was 2017. So it's only 3 years, but the rise of the band and the last 3 years have to be almost kind of like a whirlwind for you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like we've all been in bands before, different bands, and I was kind of at the moment of like kind of quitting music because I was just kind of sick of the industry and just sick of like, I got to that point where like I felt like I started writing songs to appease other people more than myself and that kind of thing. Like you get frustrated in that mid-20 area. You know what I mean? Like trying to be real, and then you're like, oh man, so. I was kind of quitting, and then we just did Dead for fun. We were just like, let's just be real heavy and real violent. And the early stuff was real heavy and violent. We just wanted to play like, no big grandiose ideas. Just like, I just want to play at this shitty punk bar and like, let's just be heavy on Saturday nights. That was kind of like the idea, which is the coolest thing because every band I've ever been in, there's always been the thought of like, oh, we want to, we want to do this and we want to do that, and, all that kind of stuff. But, so it was interesting because we did it just for fun. We kept it all really under wraps. We didn't really talk about it with anybody, but we'd play like, shows around and we were already, established in the scene as from different bands. So we got to open up some cool shows, got to play with like Upon a Burning Body early on and like Acacia Strain and Beartooth and Every Time I Die, some cool shows and stuff. So, and then, we did our EP. It was with Matt Good. He's from First to Last and Drugs and stuff. And he produced
Drugs is an amazing band, by the way. But go ahead.
It really no, it was so good. Great album. Mm-hmm. And so he had moved out into Arizona. And so him and David and I had started the band and Matt just kind of had to step down because he was getting way more into production. He's done like, Afton Alexandria's new album and The Word Alive and Hollywood Undead and a bunch of cool stuff. So anyway, I think I'm making this too long. But
no, you're good.
We ended up, recording it all. And, it just got to people real quick. We sent it to just some friends kind of for fun. And it got out real quick. And, like I said, we've been in other bands before. So this was the fastest that ever happened, for sure, without a doubt. And it was. And then once that happened and we got involved with everybody, like John Feldman and got involved, like Benji and Joel Madden managed us for a couple of years from Good Charlotte. And, we got in touch with our manager now, Jordan Schur, and our label as well. And, it was a whirlwind, going out to LA, hanging out with all these people, meeting everybody we've always wanted to meet our whole lives. All of a sudden, you're in the room with everybody, all your heroes and stuff, and going on tour with all of them. And it was wild, but it was cool. It was like kind of cool to have been in other bands before. So when we did it this time, we felt like, not that we like deserve to be there, because I don't like the word deserve, but like, we felt like a little bit more comfortable in our shoes to be like, yeah, we're here, we're cool, it's all right.
Paid your dues type stuff.
Something like that, yeah.
Kind of growing up in bands and playing in bands and just getting to kind of where you see the business the way it is now, with management, with a record label. Obviously, we got this interview through Publicist and, kind of seeing it now do you think your early bands were really far away, or maybe like just a couple of phone calls away? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, no, I feel that. Looking back, yeah, I think some of it was pretty strong, in comparison to other things that but that's the thing, is just like your art, you make something that you like. I compare it to a meal sometimes. Like, you put the ingredients in that taste good to you, and that music tastes good to you. So, I do think that it could be anybody, like it could be like the right person hears you, the right person sees you. But then I also think you need to make your own luck. You need to be
Yeah.
strong. When you get to a certain point and that opportunity knocks, you have to be ready for it. So that whole preparation thing, you got to jump through hoops once it starts happening. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you know that from different occasions, right?
Yeah, it's definitely great. And that's funny you talking about, you put the music out there and it kind of spread like wildfire. I think that's the best way for something like that to happen, because obviously you give it to a couple of friends, they're like, let their friends hear it, that whole word of mouth, and it gets around, rather than, you just banging on the doors hoping someone listens to it. That word of mouth, that cosign, I think goes a long way with pretty much anything. Because if you throw out like, what podcast are you listening to right now,
Mhm.
all the hosts of the podcast are going to put their podcast up. You're like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, what are you listening to that is not your own? And it's kind of the same thing what you're talking about, the music there with everybody, with your friends, passing it on to friends, passing it on to friends, and it spreads like that. More natural, more organic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was cool how that happened. We just made our videos by ourselves on our iPhones and shit, like, super like DIY, really, just, and like, because it was just fun. Like I was saying, we weren't trying to do anything. We are just like, let's make some shit. This is fun, and it felt really inspiring, especially in the beginning. It felt really inspiring, and it's awesome that it still feels that way. So.
Yeah, I mean, every time you like, I know you're not dropping names to drop names, but every time you open your mouth about who you're working with and whatnot, I mean, it's like A-list people, even like early videos with Fred Durst and going on to Jordan Schur. I mean, that's a huge name in the business too, and just it just seems like if you want to, you could reach out and ask lots of people, lots of questions about, the career. And, I'm sure like most of us, you're like, well, what should I do next? You kind of have a lot of people you could fall back on and say, what should our next move be? Or are we headed in the right direction type stuff?
Yeah, no, that's like, I would say that's for sure. There are a lot of great people around us. And, I try to be that type of person. So I try to be the energy that I want to attract. You know what I mean? So I try to be a good dude, and then hopefully that good stuff comes back to me. It's life.
Nice.
So yeah, it's amazing to have like been guided by people like the some of those people that I've talked about, and there's a lot more aside from that too. So yeah, I feel very lucky.
What's like one of the first big things that happened to Dead, that was say a tour, or just even hearing your song on the radio, like that, not in drive time, not the local Sunday night hour. What's kind of the first stuff you look back to with Dead?
Man, there was so much. I mean, just you talking about hearing the song. I remember hearing it when we were driving out to like finish up the album. Our first like song that went to radio was called Anti Everything. And I remember we were driving out to LA to meet up with Feldman to work on the last couple songs for the album, but the single had already come out to radio. And yeah, I just remember us driving, hearing it on Octane, and it just sounded so heavy and stuff at the time, and we were just excited. I mean, I remember that. But I had been in bands with songs on the radio before, so I kind of already had that, like, what's that movie, That Thing You Do?
Oh yeah.
On the street, like, wilding out. We didn't quite have that amazing of a moment, but something like that. I always think of that movie. But I think just honestly having the respect and having like people that we look up to appreciate our music. One of the things about John Feldman is like, my first concert I ever went to was like a festival with Goldfinger to see them play, and that was like my first concert when I was like 12. And then to have him find my band however many years later, and respect me and like work with me, like that's a really serendipitous type thing. It's really cool. And like, just doing all the tours, and I don't know, there's so many things, and it's awesome. It's hard to like pinpoint one or two things, but just hanging out and just living that life, I guess, it's just awesome.
Can we talk about that thing you do and how just great of a movie that is, especially if you're into bands? There's so many moments in that movie. If you've ever been in a band, you've had all those things happen to you. Of the four members of the band, which one do you maybe align yourself with the most? Would it be kind of the asshole lead singer, the free living free guitar player, the too cool for school drummer? Where are you at?
Right. Man, I'm trying to think, because I am the singer, and there's that terrible whatever that goes with that. I'm definitely not that guy. I don't know. I'd like to think I'm kind of like, I felt like most closest to the drummer, I guess. I would say, probably, for whatever reason. He seemed like the most level-headed and just
Right.
kind of like, serious when he had to be, but then he was real chill and like understanding. I like to think that I'm balanced like that. I don't know.
I always love the scene where they go into the RV or the camper on the back of the truck, and the guitar player is just like, "We are signing this deal. This guy's a nice camper. We're signing. You're signing." Like, I just know that would have totally been me. Like, we're signing this record deal. No matter what it was.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's kind of the goofier dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He was in that nature movie too. That was so funny. I can't think of the name of that, but yeah. No, yeah, you're right. Like, it's so funny, like the way they did that movie, and they did such a good job. Like kind of like just watching the steps of things, and like even though it's a movie and it's kind of silly and fun, like they really did do a good job of like people having to live with each other, and like the way that life affects them, while touring and all that kind of stuff. And so they there was some great truth to it. I think that's part of the reason it's great.
Yeah. Not a lot of movies get all of that right. And the other thing I liked about the movie was, I know this is that thing you do podcast, but the other thing is they actually practiced that song over and over and actually learn how to play it. So when they go to scenes of them playing it, they're not just like hitting whatever on the guitar, acting like they're playing it.
Yeah. And especially because when you have musicians watching a movie, we're the first ones to watch it. It takes you right out of the movie.
Yeah.
Anything close to it, you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're just like huge eye roll. You're like, all right, yeah, this is over with, man.
Yeah.
Well, obviously with the industry kind of on pause, are you guys going to do any live stream type stuff? Are you going to try to do the whole live stream concerts, any of that stuff?
Yeah, we've been talking about it. We're all a little spaced out right now. We just did a live Octane. They had like a big festival thing, Invasion, over the weekend. We just did that, which was awesome. We did like some like reimaginings of some of the songs, and then we did like a Nirvana cover on there. And then I've been just doing like acoustic stuff, like on like radio, radio interviews and things like that. But like, we just don't want to, put together anything that's not going to be, worthwhile and like really like awesome, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like, if that presents itself to where we can do that, then we will. But we don't want to just force anything, for the sake of doing it, just to put something out. That's not really our vibe. So if we figure out like a good way to do it, we will. But like no rush right now for us.
Where did the progression of kind of your visuals come from? Obviously, the first album, you're doing the contacts with the pupils or whatnot. But then I think you've kind of evolved into, you're wearing a little bit more stage makeup type stuff, making yourself up a little bit, making it a little bit cooler. Where did you maybe find the inspiration for that side of the equation?
Yeah. Well, the contact thing, like, it was just like, I always like in the past, like we just did the contact thing for fun. Like the first probably like 15 or 20 shows, we did the contacts and we wore like black straight jackets. I had never really done any sort of like aesthetic thing with any band I'd ever been in. It was always like, that was always like cheesy to me for some reason. Like it was always like, we got to keep it punk rock,
right.
Metal, like we can't, or not metal, because it is more metal to dress up, but like punk rock or whatever. Or like whatever. And it was always like, nah, we don't dressing up, none of that fucking, choreographed shit or whatever you call it. But once I did it and we all put the context in, we looked at each other around the room. And that was pretty much me, I would say, dreaming that kind of stuff up. We looked like the dudes looked weird and looked different, and they kind of made me feel uncomfortable. And that was really a lot of the reason in the beginning of Dead was to make people feel something, feel uncomfortable, whether it was like, you know, like a movie that's scary or it makes you feel like shit or whatever is good, you know, because it made you feel something, whether it makes you feel happy or bad or whatever. So, you know, like we thought shutting off the eyes was like a real big thing because that's like such a tell for people, you know what I mean? Like to not be able, it's almost like people like say like it's almost like you're wearing a mask because like you can't, like the eyes are so important. It's like such a like it's like what I'm looking at with you for the last, you know, half hour, you know what I mean? And so to take that away was just like it felt cool. It felt weird and it felt like it was gonna build upon the way the music was sounding, at least on the first album, you know. And then as we went through that, you know, we just felt like it was time to change and just started dreaming up things. And it kind of was like an organic thing. Some of the dudes started trying some stuff on their own. Like Kyle would like, you know, do whatever. And then it just kind of, it grew into where it is now. And I think that'll always change. You know, I don't want to be kind of stuck in a box of like doing the same exact thing. You know, like you look at a lot of bands that did, like David Bowie, he changed every album. Or, you know, Slipknot, they even changed their masks, you know, whoever it is that dresses up. So I think it's part of the fun, you know, for one. And I think it's, you know, it's cool to really be an extra extension of the music and the art, that kind of thing. So, you know, yeah, we'll always change it. It'll always be evolving.
You know, the one thing with the mask thing, obviously I'm doing the mask mandate. I've realized I smile at people a lot. But like if I'm at the grocery and I'm, you know, you're about to bump carts or something, you know, you give them a little smile and like a little nod and hesitation that, you know, you're like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. But now you're just like a crazy person because you're just staring at them like you almost ran into me. But I swear I'm smiling under this mask.
Yeah. I saw a mask that said I'm smiling under my mask and I almost got that one. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like, you know, I guess with the mask, all we can see is our eyes.
Right.
I guess it's almost as pointless. You know what I mean? Like you kind of need a little bit of both, really, to really like get an eye on something. But yeah, I bought one from my buddy Brandon from Atreyu. He had one that says "Have a beautiful day." I wear that around, you know, because people see you walking around I love walking around the grocery store, and it's not as crazy as it used to be. But you know, you got all your tattoos and stuff. You look like you're mean. Your beard's popping out, but you know, I want people to see like, yo, I'm a chill dude. You know, I like representing for the weirdos and being super nice to people, you know, and being like, oh, all right, everybody can be nice, you know, like that's a big thing for me.
So is this the first time you've grown a beard? Because your beard is pretty well amazing, and it kind of came out of nowhere, and it's a little bit trimmed down now, but there for a little bit it was pretty big. It was in the notes to ask you about your beard. You know, did you know you could grow a beard your whole life, or was this something you like just started growing?
Yeah, I chilled it out recently. I never knew, you know, I had grown like a beard, like a little bit of a beard, probably in like, you know, like the mid 2000s time or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, I can grow a beard. But then really, I think just kind of being on tour and like, I don't really see my face all the time and you're kind of losing track of time and whatnot. I think that was where it just really kept going.
Yeah.
And then once it was like there, dude, it was definitely gnarly for a while. And then now that I'm home and stuff, I don't know. I just like, it's like you always want to change things. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you get a haircut, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're like, I'd like to see I got a face, you know, like I got a little bit of a neck and stuff, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. It's nice to switch it up. I might grow it out again. I don't know. I might just shave it all off too. I mean, it's just really just like I'm saying, like, I don't want to be in any sort of like box, like, oh, I got to keep my beard because it's part of my thing now, you know. That's not really it, you know. So, but yeah, it was awesome to see how gnarly it could get. And you know, you only live one time, you might as well see how big your beard can get, you know.
There you go. Yeah, this is the only time I've ever tried to grow one out since the quarantine. I trimmed it down, but I said after coming out of quarantine I wanted to look like you know, a Great Southern Trendkill Phil Anselmo, you know, just nasty and hair, and it just, you know, that was what I was going for. The hair's getting longer, so I'm digging it.
Hell yeah, man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, how long? That's the longest you've ever gone with your beard right now?
I mean, it was longer. I trimmed it down, but yeah, I've always been like goatee guy, so now I'm growing. You know, it's not too bad. You know, it's definitely no Joe, but it's no Joe beard, but
no, solid beard, absolutely.
Word. Well, as we kind of just wrap this up, I mean, we've talked about, new songs coming out, kind of a steady stream of new music, man. It sounds killer, and you're definitely, putting out great tracks and just getting everything out. So just, any last words for everybody just to be on the lookout for anything or anything like that?
Yeah, a new single Parasite is out right now. There's like it's all the streaming and all that kind of stuff. And we got more music coming out. Like if I could, I would put the whole album up right now. But we gotta figure it out and do it the right way. So another new single coming out soon with a video. And like the touring and stuff with Blackville in the moment. They have it rescheduled. We just got to see if we can stick to that schedule. And so again, I can't announce anything for that, like legally or whatever. I just hope everybody's taking care of themselves, and trying to be cool and, wear that fucking mask and like try not to get in yourself sick and anybody else sick and all that. Like it's about the greater good right now. It's about, it's about everybody respecting each other, and just want to like reiterate that to everybody and, keep your mind right. So that's it.
Yeah. If the mask works, if they don't work, just put a mask on. Like, just stop trying to be that guy that's at the store trying to be too cool for school with their mask on their head. Just put it on. Like,
yeah, we're not in like middle school anymore where it's like cool to be rebelling against whatever. It's like, people are dying. So yeah.
All right, man. Well, take care. Have a good rest of your day, and always good talking with you, man.
Thank you. You too, brother. Be well.